Among British Columbia's rich wine-growing history, Quails Gate can claim an early spot. The Stewart family was farming in the region back in the early 1900s. By the 60s they were growing grapes, and by the 80s they were selling wine. After 30 years of consistent, dependable quality wine production, and at a time when many wineries falter passing the baton to the next generation, the winery has chosen to experiment with its best vines, clones, and vineyard blocks. We discussed the Distinction Collection with the family, along with the winemaking team, to find out what the future holds for one of BC's first families of wine. Well, I remember thinking about Quails Gate when they first got going as a winery about 30 years ago. They were a small farm gate winery making almost experimental batch wines. You've sort of come full circle. You were back talking about a new set of wines that are small batch and experimental. Are you closing the circle, or what?
Well, it's an opportunity to revert back maybe to the early days when you were experimenting and trying different things, and not feeling like you had to work within a set parameter of an established product.
The Distinction Collection really gives us the opportunity to explore the different nuances of clones and vineyard sites, as well as winemaking techniques. You may not see the exact same wine every single year. However, what you will see is the best expression of that vintage.
The aim of the collection was to provide a range of wines that are available at the estate, available for club members, that are ever changing. So that there's, for example, Q, which is the red blend in the series, the blend will change as we bring on different varietals, and maybe we add a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Discovery and innovation has a way of trickling down across the entire wine portfolio.
With the Distinction Collection, it's a place for us to experiment. If one of those experiments happens to have overwhelming success, then there's no reason why we wouldn't try to take that and implement it in other areas of QG winemaking.
It's not just the winemaking. The Distinction Collection has given viticulturalist Ed Tonner a similar mandate to explore new ideas on the home site and across the lake in East Kelowna on a 250-acre vineyard coming into production shortly.
From an experimental perspective, knowing that we are in climate change, knowing that we can expect to have a lot more heat, a lot more UV on these vines, we can actually impart certain techniques that we haven't done in the past. What we learn in these blocks, we'll be able to roll out through the other 450 acres of the farm, and then collectively moving forward from a developmental perspective, what we're putting in the ground.
Obviously the family's important. Rowan's back working here. The next generation is coming online. Does that build right into the idea of this collection and looking forward?
Well, it's very important for the family. Ben, Cynthia, Andrew, and I are all trying to, transition the business to the next generation. We've seen a lot of wineries, decide to sell out at this point. In Quails Gate, we really want to see it move on to the next generation.
So, Rowan, do you think about even the beginnings? Like this property, dates back to the turn of the 19th century when things got going in the Stewart family here in the valley. And now you're here making wine. Do you feel something special about that when you return?
Yeah, for sure. This site is, I would argue, one of the best, most unique terroirs in the valley, if not Canada, and I feel a real connection to it and very proud of it.
The grapes were planted here with a purpose, and it's a testament to the family when they did plant this, that they knew what they were doing. They've got a nice combination of terroir driven with that rootstock and the right clone to pair really well with the microclimate here.
What did you choose for the first set of wines? So what's coming out?
Yeah, so the first four is Dijon clone Pinot Noir. It's a selection of Dijon clones. Then Clone 49 Riesling, which is from East Kelowna, which is kind of an emerging Riesling area. And then the Clone 220 Chenin, which is actually fermented in concrete egg, and so it's kind of like an experiment with that style of fermentation. And the Q is our red blend.
If we look at all the different wines that come out of Quails Gate, where does the collection sit?
The collection kind of sits in between the estate tier of our, Pinot Gris, Chasselas Pinot Gris, and our Pinot Noir, and then above that we have our SFR and our Founders series, and this collection kind of sits right in the middle.
It's a really nice complement to the wines that we do make every year. because it allows us to take different parcels that would maybe get blended into, say, a Richards Block Pinot or a Stewart Family Reserve Pinot and highlight them on their own. So you really get to see the unique characteristics of that specific vineyard site, that specific clone, and how the fruit is expressing itself through our vineyard.
I also think the business has changed dramatically in the last 30 years, that it's almost like you need to think ahead now constantly. Is this collection going to be part of that thinking?
Yeah, it's, the consumer now is very interested in wines that are unique, exclusive to the tasting room, exclusive to the club, or that something that's a very small lot. It's been a growing trend amongst wine people as they get more educated.
While Quails Gate is fulfilling a demand from consumers for something new and different, the collection is also energizing the winemaking team.
In the future, we are talking about maybe making a sparkling, which would be really interesting and exciting for Quails Gate. We have a lot of Pinot Noir, we have a lot of Pinot Meunier, we have a lot of Chardonnay, so I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be able to make a really complex method champenois sparkling wine.
When I was working overseas and abroad, that kind of end goal in the back of my mind was always to come back and work here. And having achieved that, it's kind of like, what's next? And so part of that, what's next, is these new distinction wines. What ideas might come out of this kind of melting pot?
Research has been a part of our history since the beginning, and this is a way that we can continue to enshrine that way of thinking into the DNA of the company, and the family is really excited about maintaining that innovation as one of our core values.
By embracing change, the next generation of the Stewart family has ensured they'll be around for another 30 years, farming and making wine in the Okanagan Valley.